Good evening, everyone. I hope you have all enjoyed your morning workshop. I'm Prashita Deshmukh, a student of Year 3 of the BDES program in Humanizing Technology. On behalf of NMIMS School of Design, I extend a warm welcome to all parents, faculty, and students. I formally welcome the speaker for today, Ms. Karthi Subbraraman. As part of the rollout of the new academic year, NMIMS School of Design conducts a week-long orientation program titled DFutura, the Future of Design. This time, the program is conducted online for the fourth batch of BDES Humanizing Technology. DFutura stands for the futuristic view of design, showcasing its transitory, collaborative, and technology-driven nature. The program comprises of speaker sessions and workshops that hope to inspire the students as well as open a window to their 4-year journey at the school. We continue with the Get Inspired Talk series, a part of the DFutura orientation program, Inspiring Talks, to broaden our horizons. Since this is a virtual event, we request you to mute your microphones and close your videos. However, questions are most welcome. Please type your questions in the chat section. We will be taking them at the end. The more you question, the more you explore. Without much ado, let me introduce Ms. Karthi Subbraraman. With 70,000 plus hours of experience design, 150 plus products, 400 plus masterclasses, and 19 patents, Ms. Karthi is a Chief Product Officer at Experian, an ecosystem for makers. A technologist turned into a multidisciplinary product designer and a design educator focused on human cognition and behaviors. Her work focuses on designing meaningful systems with an emphasis on experience design. Before starting out in the education world, Ms. Karthi designed products like printers for Hewlett Packard, payment systems for State Farm Insurance, dashboards for World Bank, Pocket PC applications for Microsoft, and many more. Ms. Karthi had a 7-year stint of entrepreneurship by running a premium design consulting agency called Ogma. Ms. Karthi earned a Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and a Master's in Human-Computer Interaction from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, and also an Executive MBA in Product Leadership. Today, Ms. Karthi Subbaraman will talk about Design U. Look forward to an engaging session. Ms. Karthi Subbaraman, the virtual stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Prashita. That sounded like as if you're giving an introduction to a dinosaur. That was really long. Awesome. Great. It's so good to see almost 90 of you out there. Me share whatever little I could so that you don't have to go through this entire path that I went through, and try and take it away from there. So any questions, please, as and when it is occurring to you, please put it in the chat window. I will try and look at them in almost at the end of the session, but don't hold your questions. They're not very good for your brain. So just put it out there. And I will not see that. Okay, let me know if you're seeing my screen. All good?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We can see.
Brilliant, brilliant. Awesome. So I actually wanted to cover lots. Like I could just, I alone can speak for another 2 years for you about this topic. It's been one of the most inspiring aspect of design that I have discovered. You will not find this in books, blogs, not even in terms of anecdotes. It's a completely, I just formulated this on the go. So this is something very unique, and I have not even had an opportunity to share it in full. And when Manisha said, you need to speak to my future cohort, I said, let's talk Design U. And she didn't even complete the sentence, and I said, no, we should talk Design U. So that's how I'm excited about the topic. I don't know whether it's going to inspire you, but I think here is an opportunity for me to share something super significant so that the future makers are kind of made a better way. That's just my intent. But you know, you need to be right or wrong at the end of the session. Right? Let's get started from here. For the fun of it, I just wanted to know, curious to know, what do you think this topic is all about? What do you think this topic is all about? Probably, Prashita, you can read out whatever comes in the chat window because I can't see it here. So in case something comes, go ahead and read it for me.
Yes, ma'am. Do you want to wait for people to reply?
Of course.
All right.
What do you think this topic is all about? Type away. Hello, hello. Can you all hear me well? Is this chai time? Yeah, you can hear me? Oh, lovely. So what do you think this topic is all about? Just your thoughts. What does the word Design U does to you?
So I'll start.
Sure.
Maybe to do with universal design.
Okay. More. I don't know what's coming in the chat, so I have no idea. So it's like I'm just waiting.
So as of now, okay, so I'll just read out a few things that came up. So Anisha says that, is it based on user psychology?
User psychology?
Yeah. Saima says it's maybe to do with design for people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
It's about user-centric design.
User-centric design, okay, lovely.
Shrikar says it's about designing yourself.
Designing yourself, oh, lovely, okay.
Then Rishi says Design U could be prototyping, designing, and research.
Prototyping, designing, and research. Yeah, you've been reading lots in internet. Lovely. And
maybe it has something to do with human-centered design.
Human-centered design, okay.
Another one is taking feedback from users and developing accordingly.
Taking feedback from users, okay. Nice. Okay, lovely. So there is a lot of different thought process. I want you to hold this curiosity with you, and let's go ahead and talk about it from a perspective that I see it. Some of you said it is about designing your personal self and things like that. We will see where it goes. So I know that this is a week-long series and a lot of people have been talking to you guys. So you are, people coming and saying, oh, this is what design world is all about. So they have been a GPS to the design world. They say that if you take this route, probably you will reach 7 minutes later. If you take this route, probably you will reach fast, but you need to go through a lot of stuff. You might take this route, it shows longer, but the road is awesome. So that is pretty much what Unmesh and everybody else before me was telling you. Here is how you can go into the design world. This is what AI looks like, social responsibility looks like, and things like that. So I am here to come and tell you more like, hey, do you have the right gear to go into this journey? Are you prepared for this journey? For example, if you're going to Himalayas, you need to prepare a certain way. If you're going for a bike ride in Leh Ladakh, it's a completely different journey. So if you are going to become a designer, right? And at the end of 4 years, it is a journey, and are you prepared? So I'm here to come and give you some advice on the gear that you should be using, which you can take it with you, so that you are not, you can go all the way to Ladakh, you can go all the way to base camp, and you can be extremely tired. Okay, so the idea is to increase your odds of success by eliminating all possible chances of failure on the go, right? You can go all the way and you might literally be fatigued. So my intent is to give you the gear in such a way that it's a pleasant journey for you for the rest of your life, because you're choosing a career in design. And hence I thought probably, it's important that I share this with you. So where did this come from? This came from, there is always something like this when you have some gray hair. I wish somebody told me all this before I started my career path. And everything that I have jotted down on the go, that's pretty much what I wanted to share it with you. And that's exactly why you will not find it anywhere else, because it comes from my head, right? So in real life, it kind of looks like this. The reality is very messy. So I am taking a few dots which are worth connecting. After, so many years of looking into design, I thought probably these are some dots that you should know even before you started, right? And where did these dots come from? It came from an experience like this. This is pretty much what Prashita was reading about. So when I started from technology all the way to human-computer interaction, product leadership, entrepreneurship, ecosystem, and going through different types of education in technology, then in pretty much human factors engineering, human-computer interaction, and then product leadership. If you live a life like this, and if I need to just put it together like a dashboard, this is how it looks like. Some of it, what Prashita read, was little earlier. So this is the updated dashboard. And with all of this, right, you start looking at life a little differently. And I was just taking a note of everything that I have done in this period, and it looks like this. This is the number of, or the amount of interest areas and the subjects that I have been through. So it looks very messy, but this is what your career becomes in 20 years. It started with cognitive science, but slowly it started creeping in with research, neuroscience, design thinking, digital product design, behavioral psychology, on yada, yada, yada. And when I looked at all of this, it was quite a bit of FOMO for me, because I was like, oh my God, am I going to keep doing this forever? And then I found a secret, right? The secret looked like this. Whatever my interest area was, the center of it was just a human being. And that's about it. And that changed everything. And that gave me a phenomenal confidence as a designer that, wait a minute, you either design something or you don't design it. That's the only difference that we are, kind of having. So design X was born, and X being everything, right? You can design anything. If you can design a product, a service, a system, a space, why can't you design a life, your career, your finances, it's a completely different thought process. But the idea is everything is either designed or not. And that's pretty much where this thought process came from. The basis of the thought process is just this. Hey, there is man-man interaction, man-machine interaction. That's what you're going through as human-computer interaction. Man-men interaction, man-market interaction. When you look at it, it sounds like, what is this? This is exactly what you're going through. When you're talking, when I say man, don't treat it as the gender man. It's human, right? Human-human interaction. That is pretty much what is communication, isn't it? You and I are talking, whether we are talking virtually or not, it's communication. Man-men interaction, pretty much that's how the societies are formed, culture is formed. Man-machine interaction, the machine and the man are interacting, and that's pretty much what is your product design. Man-market interaction, that's how your business is designed. So if you kind of look at it, there is one common denominator in this entire thing, right? And that is your human, right? And when you look at it, human, kind of interacts with many other things. And that's pretty much what is going on. Now, I was wondering, okay, there is one more element that is completely missing. We are always seeing something outside, right? man interaction. It is always something else. And now I started adding one more. What about the maker? That's you, that's me, that's all of us. The designers, the product makers, the technologists, the builders, hustlers, whatever you want to call them, right? So what about this maker, right? At the end of the day, that is also a human, isn't it? And that is when the whole idea started becoming bright in my head and said, here is a man, human, designing for the well-being of another human or another bunch of human. That's pretty much what is happening. So this is where it is a designer designing for a customer. And that kind of gave me a thought process, right? Hey, even before you go and design for a customer, should you not design the designer? That's the birth of Design U. So Design U before designer started coming. So we always keep looking for what is that one question through which I will get maximum marks. If at all you're asking that question, if you're fresh grads and you're just entering into this field, and if you're asking that, let me tell you right away that if you just understand human beings, you are sorted. You're sorted for the rest of the life. This is one profession. God has been very, very, very kind, right? I think there are two of us. One is designer, the other is doctor. We only work 50% of the time. Why? Because the other 50% of the time is just, we are working with something that didn't change for like so many years, 100,000 years, 200,000 years, we haven't changed much at all. So one half of the equation is totally taken care of, right? So if you understand this part of the equation, the rest of it, you just go ahead and understand how the machine works, how the society works, how the culture works, how the behavior works, easy, much easier. So this part is what is going to give you a grade, yeah, especially if you're getting into a designer career, right? So let's talk about the basis of DesignX. Now that I have realized that, oh, everything is designed or not. So what does that mean? Everything is done consciously or incidentally, or it is not, which means it's accidental by default. If somebody goes and makes it incidental, then it is design. That's all it is, right? So look at all the well-designed things, right? It is something that is made for that particular human being, for that particular context, with that particular relevance, and it is working for that particular, kind of setting. And that is what is design. And what is the basis of design? So I came up with this framework because without these three things, there is no design, right? There are systems, there is sense, and there is science. This, again, a framework developed by me for myself just to make sense of things. So when I look at it, we are a part of the system. Look at us, right? We are human and we are interacting with human. We are in a society and then we are in an ecology. There are other species along with that. There is plant kingdom, there is animal kingdom, and there is so much more. Your fire, water, whatever, space, everything. And then we are in a planet and there are so many more planets and there is a sun and there is a moon attached to the earth and there are some 17 moons attached to Jupiter. So suddenly there is this solar system and looks like there are several other solar systems out there, and that's a galaxy. Look at it. From this point of being a human, you just go in and really zoom out and you look at it. Oh my God. And when you kind of zoom in, right, you go inside you, you are a system, right? You have about many systems inside your body. There are about 11 systems. There is a way that system works. Your digestive system, your skeletal system, everything is a system. And then look around you. You are a system. You're working with other systems. Your economy, your ability to work with manufacturing, with other human beings, everything is a system, which means we are in this chakra of systems everywhere. And what is the basis of a system? There is input, there is processing, there is output. This is the simplest way in which we can understand a system. So look at your digestive system. You eat something and the entire processing happens, and then your output is in the form of expending your energy, and probably the wastage is also a part of the output. So every system, if we start looking at it, we can start understanding, so information comes in, your brain processes it. That is what is your cognitive science. That's what is your information processing all about. And then your thought kind of, pushes you into a behavior, into an action. And then you get into decision making, judgment, all of that, which means it just works like a system. And if you don't know which system you are in, you might not be able to understand it quite well, right? So that's the first S. The second S, look at it. We are living in a complex world. We are amidst complexities. We create complexity, and we are trying to make things simple. We keep pushing our race forward. Look at us. In just 300 years, what have we done? What amazing things have we done? What nonsensical things have we done? So the great development is because of the sense, understanding things inherently and making sense of it, right? And that is the sense that will actually take you into this world of ambiguity, because you have no idea. You don't know what you don't know. And that's the world you're entering in. And that's where your sense comes in and tells you, it doesn't make sense to me. This is, that's a lot of common sense. You kind of, you have this inherent ability. You're like born with this faculty, right? You are kind of pre-programmed and you are sent to earth. That's pretty much how it works. That's the beauty. And a lot of times, a lot of nonsense happens when somebody doesn't see the sense in that particular context. So the second S is about your sense. And the last one, which is my favorite, and that is about science. Science is so beautiful that it tells things in black and white. It tells things, it works, it doesn't work. Science can show that we suck. Science can show explorations and say where all we fail. Science can go and change our perception. It can tell us, oh my God, this is how things work. It gives you knowledge. It takes you towards the ultimate truth. We don't know what it is, but definitely science is a vehicle which takes you there, right? And if you need to really design something, you need this 3S coming together. And that is what we will use to design you. Yeah. So far, so good. Is it making sense? Is it going above your head? How is it? How is it doing? I'll pause for a few and then take your kind of thought process here and see further. How is it? How is it so far?
Yes, ma'am, it's good.
It's good? Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Any thoughts, any reflections that is going on in your head, put it in the chat so that, we need to keep wondering, what are we talking about? Is it making sense? Is there something that's coming to you immediately? Oh, wow, this is interesting. Oh, I have a question here. Anything on those lines?
So as of now, we don't really have anything.
Question? Okay. All right. So
yes,
you're all a product of Indian education system, is it? We have a lot of work to do then. We have to change, ask questions. We shouldn't be allowing our teachers to rest, right? Manisha, that's for you. All right, great. So I know that you're very young and you're entering into the world of design, but these are some basics that I want you to know from day one, right? And nothing rocket science. If you just look at it, you will say, why did I not look at these things? So I want to give you a lesson on human nature 101. And these are some 5 things I want to share with you. And that's it. Go look at any human being, mother, father, girlfriend, boyfriend, their father, and your padosi, whoever, your teachers, everybody will fit into this human nature 101. Okay? First thing first, we are so similar and we are so different. We are so unique that we are 1:400 trillion. There is no Karthi in the ratio of finding another Karthi is 1:400 trillion, which means that there is no more Karthi on this earth. There's only one. Okay, that's the uniqueness. But Karthi is a human being like every other human being, has 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 32 teeth, 207 bones because of the gender, 320 muscle groups, 5 liters of blood, very similar. All human beings share those. But there is this 0.1% of difference which makes Karthi as Karthi. And similarly, there is one Manisha, there is one Prashita, there is one Aditya, there is one Shreya, there is only one of you. Yeah? And that comes from your genetic makeup. I mean, I don't want to get into the rabbit hole, but I want you to know that there is so much similarity. Evolution has done so much work on us that between chimpanzee and a human, our difference is just 2%. Just look at it, 2%. 98 to probably whatever this 99.9%. That 1.9% is the difference, and we are who we are. And isn't that fascinating? And that is what made me wonder, oh my God, look at all your customers. Your customers are 99.9% similar and they're 0.1% different, which means every single customer of yours is unique, is going to have the characteristics which is very particular to their context. So, which means that you will go ahead and look for similarity, and you will also look for, the difference, right? So, Prashita, if you can manage the chat and tell me what is coming, then I will know it.
Yes, ma'am, we have one question.
Yes.
So Saima asks, nowadays experiences are getting more personalized. So is it fair to pick target audience as a range of people? Okay. Since every person is unique.
Manisha is going to hate me when I say this, but whatever you're taught in school, that's not how it works. Why? Because you're taught in school to design for a target audience, which is for that 99.9% similarity within that particular group. You are having certain characteristics, right? Very similar characteristic. That's what you're designing for. But wouldn't it be great to go ahead and look for that 0.1% difference and go ahead and design for that? It's going to be super hard, right? Because imagine if you are going to design for 7.4 billion people, it's going to be 7.4 billion needs, the kind of personalization that you will go through. Yeah. But you can go ahead and start designing for the context, which is more like, if you have this problem, this is how I'm solving it, which is a particular use case. So a person versus a persona, it's a very different way of looking at it. So why not we do that? And in industry, that's how we start. We go ahead and design for one person, one context, and then go ahead and see everybody who has a similar context, who has similar problems, will come and use your solution. And that's a great place to start. But what I wanted you to know today is 99.9% similarities among all human beings. All human beings. You can take Homo sapiens, they work a certain way, and it's very important for you. Did that answer you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, awesome, great. And the second most important thing, this is something that I was kind of breaking my head and I really did not understand. This complex, beautiful, magnificent machine that we have inside us called as the human mind, right? Human mind is not just brain. Brain is just a biology way of looking at it. There is information processing to it called as cognitive science. There is evolution. Mother Nature has done enough work on us. So that is evolutionary psychology. There is behaviors. There is behavioral psychology. When it is combined with economics, it becomes behavioral economics. We have, kind of the way we think is quite irrational if you really look at human beings. And anthropology is all about the study of culture. And we go ahead and understand communication. There is no other species in this planet Earth which has as vivid language like us, so that we make meaning, we understand, the way we exchange communication is through language. And all of this is influencing the human mind. So when you look at the human mind, please look at it holistically. Okay? And a lot of times you may be pulled this way and that way: cog science, neuroscience, behavioral science, evolutionary psych, anthropology, semiotics, linguistics. Yes, every single one of them has an impact on the human mind. It's like seeing a human mind in different lenses. And that's pretty much what you should be doing as a designer. And this is something none of my professors told me. Cog science professor came and talked about everything cognitive psychology and said, everything about human mind is cog. I'm like, really? Is that right? But then what about neurotransmitters? How does biology play here? I had to go ahead and really understand it from the neuroscientific perspective. So even before you enter into this field, understand that you have to look everything from a holistic perspective. Remember, systems, science, and sense. All of that comes only when you know the whole and not just the parts. It's good to know the parts, but you should definitely know the whole. So this is the magnificent software that we have. And please go ahead and understand this a little bit more. The third important thing is human beings are human beings because of this one characteristic, because we are super adaptable. The reason why we are able to adapt is because, one, we have language, we can cooperate. We don't have stranger anxiety, right? You and I are talking today and I have no idea who are you, and you have no idea who am I. I have no idea who is Manisha, but we will cooperate and we'll say, let's go and inspire the future generation of designers. This happens only with human beings, no other species on earth. Yeah. And look at us, we make tools. We are so lazy, but we want to get the work done. So every time, if you want to, reduce your effort, you go and make a tool. You don't want to, open a screw using your nails. So you go and make a screwdriver, right? You don't want to move a rock. So you made a lever, Archimedes principle, right? So that's how you use gravity. Yeah. And then you will say, oh, that is how it works. You're making tools and tools and tools so that you can become lazy and lazy and lazy. And that's human. Yeah. If you are lazy, you're just being human. Don't beat yourself up. Your customer is the same. And this is, when I understood this, I literally wanted to have wine that day because it was such a celebration. Like, wow, this is the basis of human being. The only thing that keeps us moving is our adaptability, right? So we can adapt so well that we are not the strongest. We cannot reproduce like other animals, not even like rabbits. We are not the fastest. Cheetahs are much faster than us, but yet we rule the world. Why? Because of our adaptability. Yeah. And this needs a special emphasis, and that's important for you to know as designers, that how are you adapting? How are you designing for the adaptability of your customers? It is super important. This is not just, I don't look at design as just product design, business design. Everything is designed for me. Design X, that's how it works, right? And this needs a special mention. And we must talk about this. Human beings always got caught into the pleasure trap, right? So our pursuit of pleasure, starting from your Instagram all the way to your donut, it is all about pleasure traps, right? So you are in the pursuit of pleasure. It feels so good, right? And if you hug somebody, if you kiss somebody, if you're loved, and all of these are very pleasant to you. And this pursuit of pleasure is pretty much why we exist the way we exist, right? We don't like pain as much as we love pleasantness, pleasure. We don't like pain. Anything that we can do to avoid pain, we will say, no, we will not even get there. You will have a fear coming in and you will say, oh my God, that's so painful, I will not do it. That's just being human. So if at all you are saying no to something, just ask, what is the pain I am avoiding? That's pretty much how you work. And we are energy saving machine. Anything that can save energy, our body works like that. If you're standing for a long time, it will tell you, please sit down. If you're sitting for a long time, it will tell you, please lie down. if you need to think too much, your brain will be like, let's do a shortcut. Yeah. So it's a 2% of your body weight. That's your brain size. I mean, the mass of it. But 25% of your energy, your brain takes it. It just guzzles it, right? So for such a body, 2% and 25%, the rest 98% is taking care of 75%. Look at the math. Yeah, that is why whenever you're making decisions, you make false decisions, wrong decisions. Why? Because your brain wants to finish it quickly. Very good, bad, finish it off. Yeah, right, wrong. Yeah, just put it in one belief bucket. Done, done. I don't want to think more. Your brain's job is not to think. That's why you are not able to really focus too long, and you're able to, kind of, have you seen this while cramming for exams, right? You will need too much sugar. Like that night you will need so much of food or chocolate or something like that. It's because of energy expenditure. We hate energy expenditure as human beings, right? The center of all of this is pleasure. We are pleasure-seeking machine. Anything which is pleasurable, we go for it. That's human. So are your customers. So are your partners. So are your teachers. So are your friends. So are your fellow human beings. And that's a super important thing to know. And here is one more very exciting thing that I figured out, that it's about language, right? So language is the only way we were able to make tools. We were able to discuss complex, concrete ideas and cooperate with other human beings. Nobody else had this. No other species had this, only us. And language is very sophisticated. Look at us. We don't go and tell people that you suck, right? You go and tell it very nicely. I think this is not the right way to do it. Why did you use so many words? You don't want to hurt somebody. Why? Think about it, right? And this is the beauty of how we use language for understanding human nature. If at all you're excited in these kind of works, you should go ahead and definitely read more work from Steven Pinker and the kind of legendary people on this particular subject. Yeah. So this is important for you to understand, that human beings are blessed with language, so they are able to make tools, cooperate, bring complex ideas, and all of that. And one more important aspect of human nature is relativity, right? We understand things as relative to somebody. That is why we keep comparing. Please don't blame your parents. They are just being human beings. Arey, that person got 98%. Why did you get 94%? Why are you in 70? That's the only way they will be able to understand something. Absoluteness is not for human, because the way we survive is through relativity, right? So we understand something as small only when there is a medium and a large. We understand something is large only when you write in papers, make sure you show what is small and what is medium, so that you look large in that paper. That's what a sale's all about, isn't it? So relatively, comparatively, how are we really looking at it? And that is the basis. And this is how you're built. I did not figure out anything. I'm just telling you exactly how the human nature is built. And this is the kind of species you're going to work with, my friend. That is how you also work. That is you, and that is the kind of person you are going to work with also, right? And if you really look at us, right, we are a chemical soup. That's how we are, right? So our major aim is to survive. Yeah, living is important, reproduction. And if at all we are surviving and reproducing, we will think about growth. That is where we will want more pleasantness, more pleasure, more productivity, more potential, which means as a human being, you will never be satisfied. Never. Okay? So it is not that, you wanted to, wake up in the morning and you hate putting that cold water on you. Why? Because you're a chemical soup, right? When you went to bed, you went with high melatonin. When you woke up with high cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone. And for you to totally wake up, it's important. If you kind of put cold water on your body, your norepinephrine as a neurotransmitter, it kind of hits you and you immediately wake up, right? And that is why we say that take cold water bath in the morning and take warm water bath in the night so that you will sleep better. We are a chemical soup, right? If you are wondering about how can I be a great creative designer, this is how. This is how. This is a play of 4 hormones kind of working together. There is dopamine, there is norepinephrine, and there is acetylcholine coming together and making you perform better. This is what is flow for you. My friend, arousal means your central nervous system is kind of excited, right? If you're too stressed, you can't work, you can't be creative. If you're too bored, you can't be creative. You need to be rightly stressed, rightly, there has to be fun, there has to be a little fear also. That is why when we have exams, we have that flow night. I don't know how many of you have felt that. You will be like, oh my God, I'm able to study so much today. Why did I not do this 2 weeks ago? Because that fear has come in, right? We are just a bunch of chemical soup, right? And if you look at it, every 4 hours once your body will say, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Why? Ghrelin is going up and down. And if you leave it for 20 minutes, your hunger will go away. So your entire body works as like a chemical, laboratory, right? So one goes up, it triggers the other thing and it goes. That's how your body communicates within itself that, hey, this is what is happening. So every time you feel great, it means that a bunch of dopamine has come and hit you. That's exactly what they are misusing, right? I mean, look at your Instagram. Yeah, every time you keep going ahead and looking at novel stuff, every notification that you get, every like, every love, every share kind of gives you that dopamine to a point where your dopamine receptor has become so thin. And it takes you, this side it takes you to addiction, this side it takes you to illness. Yeah. So I do see some questions. Prashita, can I bug you?
Yes, ma'am. So,
Yeah.
Mayur sir asks, if things are so clear, then why are we suffering from poorly designed things? Like, why is global warming still becoming a problem now? Weren't we
Brilliant
clear
question.
on how to go about things before?
Right. So I talked to you about, just stay here. It's about survival, right? So we are trying to survive and we are not seeing the entire system that is getting affected because of our survival. And that is why our insensitive, nonsensical behavior is what is causing global warming, isn't it? It's the greed of human being that is pretty much causing it. If we were, kind of responsible designers, would we not design it thinking all the consequences? We don't. Why? Because it is all about my survival, my reproduction, my family, my herd, my, footprint, my bank account. It's always about my. And that is how a human being is. And when we are close, like very, very close as a herd, we will think about my community, my caste, my nation, so you kind of get into this identity war that you become insensible. Unfortunate, but true. That's human nature. So you're working with animals who are not able to think in that holistic sense. Now you start thinking about it, it is super connected, right? That's what, hyper objects is kind of dealing with. Great people like Dr. Anab Jain are talking about these things where they are asking, there is human, but there is so much more. We are just another animal species in this planet. Why are we forgetting that? Because we are busy surviving. That is why, sir. Yeah, that's why we have jobs as designers. Let me put it in a positive note. Does that make sense?
Ma'am, we have another question.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
So Shrikar asks, as you said, you were exhilarated when you realized the fact that I get that giving us this knowledge would help us grow to a great extent. But aren't you at the same time depriving us of the Eureka moment that made you want to celebrate?
Yeah, so go ahead and figure this out all your life. And after 20 years, you're blessed with that eureka moment. That is where I want to give you a perspective that human life, all said and done, let's say you're blessed with really long life, 100 years, yeah? 36,500 days. In 36,500 days, 1/3 of it, definitely you're kind of spending it in rest, sleep, right? And which means if your career, if you really do it as a math, it will be 7,000 days in your entire life. This is simple math, right? In this 7,000 days, how much are you going to figure out all by yourself, my friend? That eureka moment is possible. For example, if you're seeing the world in this view, you're able to see certain things. But if you're able to stand on my shoulder and see it, you will see more, right? Whatever I have figured out, I'm passing it to you because I'm not going to live long. And whatever you're going to figure out, which I could not figure out, that's your eureka moment. That's the beauty. Look at it. Growth never stops. You always worry and wonder about your potential. Are you happy? Are you settled any day? Look at your grandparents. Are they super happy and saying that I'm done with life? No, right? So I want to see you grow up. I want you to, get settled in a career. I want you to get married and get settled down. I want you to have a job. I want your kids to grow up. I want to see that our family's, financial status grows up. I want to. It's a potential that we keep expanding. So there is enough eureka moments that you have in your ally. Just that I am sharing with you that you don't have to go through these, but go ahead and go look at other things. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, you're never going to miss eureka, Shrikar.
Yeah.
Awesome. So from here, I wanted to talk to you about something which is a very murky topic, but it's important that you know. So let me define truth for you. Yeah. So the definition goes like this: whether we see it or not, know it or not, like it or not, believe it or not, it exists. It's a phenomenon. It exists. Okay. So just because you don't get it doesn't mean that it is not there. Just because you closed your eyes doesn't mean that the world is not bright. Okay. That kind of items is what I classify as truth. And if you really look into the world, there are three ways in which people look at truth. One is the phenomenon, the way it is. Yeah, you can't dispute it, but there is a small portion of it that we keep looking at, and that's a perspective that we get. And if you really look at somebody talking about a particular idea, they will package it nicely, write a book about it, put a framework, they will give some TED talk. That's a package. Maybe you should go and drill down and understand what the hell is the truth there. Yeah. So the beauty is science takes you closer to this. Yeah. Not totally, but closer to this. It enhances your perception. It makes you feel like a fool every time. You'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know this. I was ignorant about this. And this knowledge was not enough. There are so many nuances to it. So that this never ends. You are going ahead and understanding things better and better and better, right? So I wanted to share some aspects of truth with you that comes with life, right? So the first one, the hard-hitting one, is about your supermaster called as time. Yeah, as I said, even if you're blessed with a long life, 36,500 days, that's it. You cannot save time. You cannot divide time. Your board mass doesn't apply here. You cannot add, multiply, divide, subtract, nothing. You cannot put it in bank. You cannot share it with your friend. You cannot say that I will come and collect it tomorrow. Nothing doing. The entire universe goes on this. Okay, whatever you're doing, you are either doing it with time or not. You can sleepwalk this life, or you can do something amazing. The time will still go. That's That's the universal truth about time. So let's put the time in perspective of our life. So there is a B and a D, which means there is birth and there is death. Both of it is not in your control. And in between, there is a passage of time. I'm not talking philosophy, I'm talking truth, right? This is it. I don't know how many of you know Tamil in this group. We have a word for death as kalamaittanga. What that means is your time is over. That's pretty much what is life. So life is nothing but a passage of time. And now, how you use it or how you misuse it, abuse it, overuse it, that's up to you. But this is pretty much what is happening. This is a phenomenon. You cannot dispute it. Whether you're a designer, whether you're a dancer or a doctor, doesn't matter. This thing works the same for all Homo sapiens. One thing nature has been super fair to us is it gives you the same time every single day and for everybody. So why do some people able to make use of it better and why are others not able to? And that answer is between B and D, if you use the C, then you will be able to make use of it better. What does it mean? These are the choices that you make. So B, you cannot control. D, you cannot control. C is absolutely in your control. Look at it, right? And this is something so beautiful that I'm like, oh my God, that's it. We got it. And if you really look at your life, it's nothing but a sum of choices. Small choice, big choice, positive choice, negative choice. Depending upon this whole sum, the summation of it, that is how big your life will be, or that is how small your life will be. If you make so many stupid mistakes, then that will show off in your life. Yeah. Prashida, you can stop me anytime if you feel that the questions are relevant and I have to stop there. Okay.
All right. So do you want to take a few questions right now?
Sure. Bring it on.
Yes, ma'am. So this one is from Pranay. He says, I have found everything coming down to a human, okay, just a second. Let me just rephrase that. I have found everything coming down to a human mind-blowing perspective. On understanding the human nature, did you gain your perspective relying on human observation or books? To what extent do each work for us aspiring designers?
So human nature doesn't change. That's all is my point, right? The phenomena doesn't change. The truth that I'm talking about doesn't change. See, either we know it or we don't know it. Now, if we know it, we can go ahead and use it. It gives you an awareness, and awareness enhances your perception. And that is a designer should be somebody who has an amazing perception. What is education? Education means you have accurate mental models about things, which means you know accurately how things work. And that is what is going to make you better. So if you know all of this, you wouldn't have wasted so much time figuring this out. On this foundation, you can go and build better, isn't it? So my point is human nature doesn't change. The phenomena, the laws of nature doesn't change. You must know this. And none of us teach this. No college, no university, no school, no workplace. None of us have a dedicated view of how things work. And that is why I was very excited. I had so many reasons to cancel today. I mean, you can talk to Manisha about it. My mom is extremely sick and I literally pulled her out of the hospital. And I said, no, we cannot cancel this. This is one opportunity to go and make some changes to some young minds, significant. What you can produce by knowing this would be phenomenally significant. Yeah, let's keep talking about it and more questions, we will take it further. Would that be good?
Yes, ma'am, that would be nice.
Yeah, awesome, great. The next most important thing, right? When I understood this, I think I was in my midlife, but it did change my entire life. You are a complete system. You don't need anybody else or anything else to complete you, whether it is relationships or whether it is systems, whether it is car, house, whatever. You do not need anything to complete you. you as an individual human being can exist on this planet Earth without any help. Works. You can test it out. Okay? And everything is a spectrum. Every stick has two ends. When you pick both the ends. You have never picked a stick on one end only. You always, when it raises, both the ends come in. So it's important for you to think in terms of the spectrum, this side and that side. And a lot of times we are so skewed that we think only one end, we just leave the other. Not a good idea, right? So if you can start seeing it by standing in middle of the spectrum and you're seeing this side and you're able to make sense out of things. So these are the basic truths you should know. There is a bunch of human nature that I shared with you. There are a bunch of phenomena, truths that I have shared with you. Now, let's go ahead and do the designing activity of you. Now that we know all of this, okay, what does it mean to me? Why should I know it? I'm not even entered into anything, but you are a human being. You are a human being who is going to make other human beings' life better, which means you should start with you. Yeah. The first place to start with is here. As human, we don't like pain. So from unpleasantness, we need to move to pleasantness. That is the first place we start, which means go ahead, make a list tonight saying, what are all things that is undesirable for you? And try and see what is desirable for you. So see how you can make your undesirable to desirable. That's a first step you do. The second important thing that you should know is you cannot change the world. Sorry, if people told you you are here to put a dent in the universe, no. It starts micro. You have to take care of yourself first. Then your family, your kin, your herd, your tribe, and then slowly the impact may go and affect macro. But you cannot start macro. Everything starts micro, starting from economics, right? So microeconomics will make more sense to you than macroeconomics. Your microcosm will make more sense than macrocosm. So you need to start with you. Then we will talk about the next person, the school, the teachers, everything else. Yeah, this is something, it just changed the way I look at it. I always started asking, have I made enough micro changes so that it can have a macro effect on things? That's the second thing that I want you to know. And when I'm talking about micro, let's go deeper into that. And you is nothing but, here is the formula of you. These are the elements of your well-being. If your health, your mental health, physical health, energy, body, everything, your health and well-being, plus your relationships, which could be intimate relationship, community relationship, uncles, aunties, social, whatever, all relationships. Human beings, we are craving social. That's why this lockdown is so difficult for us, isn't it? The third one is your career. The fourth one is finance. The important part, there's nothing that you don't know in this. The important part is your elements of your life is an and equation, which means you have to have all of this, health and good relationship and good career and good finance. The minute you're using and, it is much harder. The choice making needs to be much wiser. You need to be prioritized, which means that you need to be much more deliberate about your choice making. And that is important. When I said micro, it sounded so micro, isn't it? This is the micro I'm talking about. If there is one favor you can do for this entire universe, just take care of yourself. That's enough. You don't be a problem. Self-care is more important. I'm not talking about selfishness here. And self-care is the only way you will be able to, if every single one of us took care of ourselves, we wouldn't be in this mess, isn't it? Yeah. So look at people. They either have career, they don't have good relationship, they either have great relationship, they don't have enough money. So it is always this either or that causes trouble. So if you kind of start looking at this equation from day one, you will know where to put a full stop. The problem is we don't know. Yeah. So this is probably principle number 3, right? And you need to understand something called as a master-slave relationship, right? A master generally uses the tools to serve him, okay? And in this equation, the supermaster is a time, which I'm not even talking about. That's the first thing that we covered. You are the master and everything else is tools for you, okay? That's why the tool is doing so much work in that diagram and it is adding value to you. Tools should enable the master. The slave should enable the master. And you should know what are your slaves. Yeah, this is hard hitting. A lot of people are like, Karthi, you can't say such things, but this is your tool set. Your mind, your body, the human relationship, your currency, your job, your school, your books, yada, yada, yada. Everything else is just tools, slaves that are supposed to enable you, the master. If you start looking at your tool set like this, you will start wondering about life very, very differently. If it is not enabling you, you are going to be in trouble. If you are sick, if you cannot really work with your, I think somebody is not on mute. Okay, so that is pretty much what I wanted to bring it. This is very hard hitting. And a lot of people, they just taken aback and they sit there. Are you saying that my husband is a tool? Yes. Yes, my friend. Are you saying money is an instrument? Absolutely. Absolutely. You are the master. The minute these things become your master, you are gone. So understand the relationship between the master and slave. So let me give you some concrete examples for those 4 things that I talked about. Your well-being, your health, and your relationships, your career, and your finance. So these are 4 ideas that completely changed the way I looked at life. The first one, you can go into any kind of diet program, okay? But this is all I learned about health and well-being. If you are closer to nature, depending upon how long your alimentary canal is, if you can stick to less than 2, you will be fine, okay? If you are eating Maggie and other things, you are somewhere in 5 and 6, it's not good for you. Don't have it. This is truth. I'm not disputing on this. The farm to fork meter should be as close as possible to nature. Cooking is what made us who we are. The 6 million pack in your brain, the 6-pack in your body, all of this comes from the food we eat. So it's important for you to go ahead. Can we go ahead and mute Jaisal, whoever that is? Your recording will be screwed up otherwise. Yeah, that is, you don't need any diet programs. That's it. It tells you everything. The closer it is to nature, when the nature makes it, it makes it in such a way that it is nutrition heavy. The minute you go ahead and, do other things, the choice is yours. But if it is less than 2, have it. If it is more than 2, think about it. If it is more than 4, don't have it. Simple formula. Okay. And this is something that I run a restaurant, and we were looking at how people come and eat for the sake of taste buds. Gosh, they just throw their health under the bus. Why? Why? You want this 6 inches of your tongue to control the 6 feet of your body, is it? Or should it be the other way around? If you just control this 6 inches, the rest is taken care. And that's a very, very different way of looking at it. But I have seen, I come to colleges, I teach, I love being with young minds, and they take me out for a treat. What do they give me? Maggie, all the time. Yeah, Tadka Maggie. And in NID and MIT and all these places, I have spent enough time with young crowd. And what do they eat? Gosh, if that is the kind of body they are going to have, I can question their minds, right? Think about it, yeah? From day one. If you start taking care of your physical health, your mental health, you will be fine, right? And the kind of people that you're hanging out with, they will shape you, because you have something called as mirror neurons in your brain. And whatever your surrounding is doing, you will start imitating it. So if you are in bad company, bad things will happen to you. Unknowingly, that's human nature. That's your limitation as a human system. Yeah. So go ahead and choose wisely. Okay. And that is about your relationships and community and the kind of people that you have around you. And here is a formula for relationship. This is where a lot of people hate me, but they also say they love me because of this. Yeah. If a relationship is not enabling you, if it is making you cry, making you sad, making you go down, cut it off. Toxicity should be taken away. If a relationship enables you in such a way that 1 + 1 is 11, that's what you should be having. If it is 1 + 1 is 2, okay, fine. That's not great mathematics, that's normal. But we keep looking for relationships, which is 1 + 1 is 11. Just look at it in this entire life. Let us say you're in your 100 years of life, right? In your 100 years of life, you are probably going to be surrounded by 15 to 20 close people, and that's it. In your entire life, you will see 150 to 200 people in this life. That's it. So should you not choose who are those 15, 20 people? Some things we cannot choose. Parents, yeah, siblings, you can't choose. But can we go ahead and enable that relationship? Can we go and make it work? Girlfriends, boyfriends, you can choose. Lot of nonsense happens because of toxic relationship. Because she said something, he did something. That day is gone, that week is gone. You're totally unproductive. Life is gone, you're depressed. You drink. All sort of nonsense. Anything that's disabling, cut it off. If there is an abusive relationship, not worth it. Why? For this 15 close people, you want to have so much abuse in it, is it? Question, right? So this is why I say relationships are tools too. Yeah. Lot of them take time to kind of sink this in, but take all the time that you need. And if you get it when you are 16, 17, 18, 19, you will have a great life ahead. Yeah. Take all that you want, even 4 years, but just get this right. And most importantly, very, very important concept when it comes to your career growth can be exponential when you're using your mind. Yeah, I'm not against employment, guys. Don't get me wrong. Okay, when you're starting to trade your time, just go and work for somebody and they will pay you. This monthly security has killed our financial status. That's not a good idea. Go use your mind. Don't use your time. Right? That's a better way. When you are in college, go see how to use your mind and earn more. If your career and your finance are coupled with each other, that's the worst thing that you can do. Do what you love and make sure there is enough money. You cannot be working for the sake of home loans. Look at your fathers. Look at your mothers. Probably some of you are off this, but 80% of Indian population, you're still paying your mortgage loans for 30 years. For that, you're working. Why? And cribbing, having blood pressure, not needed. Something to think about. At least when you choose your career, mind time. Yeah. This is the day I realized this, I said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to work in corporate anymore. And I loved corporate. I'm not against them. Just that it's inefficient for my life. Yeah. The most important thing that I understood in life is there are 3 things that happen to you: being, doing, having. In all reality, right? When you really look at life, it works as you have a skill, you do based on that skill, and you become that. Let's say you're a potter. You have the skill of pottery and you keep making pots and you become a potter. But let me hack it the other way around. You can start saying that I want to be a potter. Let me go ahead and do more pots. And as a result of it, let me have more pots. Completely different way. But something happens inside you when your identity shifts. I am a runner. So let me do running. And as a result of it, I have run several marathons. I am a designer. Let me do design. As a result of it, I have impacted several lives. Completely different way of looking at it. So the whole world, the mere mortals look at it the other way around. I want you to look at it this side. Yeah. All right. So we keep asking this question of gosh, what am I going to do? You don't have much choice. Honestly, there are several opportunities out there in the world, but your capabilities, your skill set, tool set, mindset is only so much. You have only so much time, so much money, so much resources, so many good friends. That's all you have. So your niche is between your capability, your opportunity, and your resources. And that is always one or two. You don't have much. So go build your capabilities, build your resources in such a way that opportunities are always there. That is one circle I'm not at all worried about. Anything that really, you want to be an amazing beekeeper, opportunity is there, of course there, right? And the design is the new software engineering, right? Every designer becomes UI UX designer. Nonsense. Why? Why? Earlier in my days, every engineer, civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, everybody became software engineer. That's exactly what's happening. Look at your capability, look at your resources, find your niche, go build new markets. Why are you struggling with this, placements, and why? Questions. I know that I'm tarnishing a lot of your brains on day one, but I want you to think about all of this. You cannot be thinking about all of this at the end of 4th year. No. Okay? I'm going to get feedback later, but yeah. Yeah? So it is important that you move from knowledge to understanding. Any fool will know it, but understanding is all about nuances and knowing something deeply, right? So in Greek, the word is called as gnosis, right? Gnosis is all about knowledge. Your epignosis is all about deep knowledge, right? That's what is understanding. I want you to be in this side where you're able to say, don't use this, do not do this, the nuances of it. Look at your mother. When she cooks, she will be able to say, I don't think salt is enough. She can just smell it and say. You will be like looking at the recipe book and figuring things out. And she'll be like, no, it doesn't work like that. Because your order was wrong. It was not said in the recipe book. Recipe books don't say that. But that's the understanding of ingredients, understanding of the process, understanding of the nuances. And that's where you should become as designers, right? So my point is move from knowledge to understanding. I know all of this doesn't mean a thing. You can know service design, design thinking, whatever. I don't even want to get into that list of jargons, but what means is how do you solve problems? What kind of problems? How are you really looking at it? That's super important, isn't it? Yeah. And here is the truth. We as human species, if I need to put it on a 24-hour clock, right? For 23 hours, 49 minutes, we have been living as hunters and gatherers. Only in the last 300 years, right? Your industrial revolution has been happening for 10 seconds. Your digital era has happened for 1 second. Now, you have a biology of hunter-gatherer, and you are trying to tarnish that system with digitization. How the hell does it work? You are using an old system for a new use case. Probably another 10,000 years, maybe this body will change and digitization is okay. It will take 5G, 6G, 10G, whatever. Today, it can't. It is not made that way. So no wonder you are having Zoom fatigue, right? You are on screens all day. You are, living with your smartphone. You're not moving. Did you know why you have brain? Why does a plant not have brain and you have brain? Have you ever asked this question? Curious question. I have been this curious cat and I keep asking these things. The reason is because of movement. Anything that moves has a brain. Anything that does not move doesn't have a brain. Look at it. Amazing, right? And today, what are you? Couch potato, sitting and not moving much. What happens to your brain? It's going to degrade. That's what is happening. You don't sleep much. You play video games. Look at what is happening with us and digitization and the old biology. This is reality. And as a result of it, we are all over the place, distracted, right? And this is the modern struggle. This is the urban fight that we are having. And this is the first world problem. And this problem is going to take us in deep drains. As all the evolutionary good work that has been done, this is taking it away. I know that we are making our best. We are changing the world with so many more digital systems and stuff like that, but it's not biologically helpful. Yeah. So because of this, I have to say this, that you can gain mastery only through doing every single day, which means that if you are not consistently compounding your knowledge, your competence cannot develop. I have seen students time and again that they spend time in college as if it is for fun. This is the time to build you, and you should be building yourself every single day. Are you? Is a question. I see that there is time for fun. I'm not saying that, but just make sure that you're consistently doing your work every single day. Because at the end of 4 years, you will see the compound interest works on that little time that you have put every single day. Probably you're practicing that particular interface that day. You're practicing that particular qualitative study. Probably you're practicing. I'm 41 now, and recently I have started practicing one skill every month, right? This month is all about sketching. I'm learning something completely new. The more and more I am learning, the better and better I'm feeling. I don't know if I look younger, but I definitely feel younger. And that is the power of knowledge and the consistency. I call this as hard dopamine. Yeah. As human beings, we love to earn things. We love to earn money. We love to earn respect. We love to earn. Somebody comes and throws at you, gives you like, take it, you know, like a beggar, right? You will start feeling like a beggar. And that is not good for us. We like to earn it, earn credibility, earn visibility, earn feedback. And that is very powerful. And when you do that, you grow. That's what is your max potential all about. Your potential grows better when you do it every single day. And there is a reason for it, because biologically, your eye will see what has been produced. And because it has seen, the stimulus will take into perception, and then your cognition works. And from there, your judgment works. And from there, your action works. And from there, your feedback works. This information processing, this loop works again and again and again. It cannot work when it is not out there. And that's why doing is so powerful. Yeah. I don't want to give you theoretical gyan about these things, but everything has been designed for you. If you just follow these 10, 12 principles that I have told you, you are ready to design yourself. So the beauty of this is you have the key now, right? You can go and unlock Design U. The problem is I can't do it beyond this. There are, for example, weight loss, it has to be done only by you. I can only tell you, okay, what are the nutritional tips and things like that. But beyond that, you have to go and run. You have to go and eat well. You have to take care of it. You have to sleep well. Things like that, only you can do. Designing you, only you can do. And I would love to leave you with this one question where I would say, your life is your responsibility. Nobody's coming and saving you. Nobody. There's nobody looking out for you. They're all busy with their own lives. And because you're a designer, because you are this man who is designing the well-being of another man, you are responsible to many lives that you design for, okay? And which means that you have to design you, and a better human is the only one who becomes a better designer. Why? When you don't have consciousness about you, how are you going to be responsible and conscious about the other beings out there? Not just human, right? I mean, the whole ecology. How are you going to design by taking into everything into account? The most damage is done by unconscious designs today, okay? So the idea is, my entire intent was to kind of give you the sunlight, fertility in the soil, little water, more like a gardener. I have done the environment setting. Now the seed inside you has to germinate, and this has been sowed inside you so that you can grow better, okay? And with this, I would love to say, go rock your world now. And if you have to start if you're asking, okay, that was all too much, where do I start? Just start with what are you, and pleasant about, make it pleasant. That's it. That's pretty much where you start. And that's the first step. There is no better time to start. The time to start is actually now. Yeah. So that's all I had. I thought I'll spend an hour and a half talking this to you. The last half an hour, we can kind of take questions and be more interactive. In case you're interested in getting connected with me, here are my social handles, and I suck with emails. Don't call me on phone. I don't pick phone calls, but everywhere else it works. Yeah, I'm instantaneous in other places. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share what I learned by going through this path in a very hard way. There is nobody to really tell me what is right, what is wrong. But over a period of time, I have figured out that these are few things that are working. It's like a secret sauce, right? And I'm sharing the secret sauce with you so that you can go ahead and do something about it. And if not 10%, if 1%, right? If out of 80 of you, if not 8 of you, at least 1 of you, if you go and change the world, tonight that 2 hours is worth it. Totally significant and totally worth it. Yeah. Thank you. And let's take more questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your peek into Design U. I would now like to invite Dr. Aditya Gupte, Assistant Professor, to host the Q&A session.
Lovely.
Thank you, Prashita. Thank you, ma'am. It was such a wonderful session. Thank you very much for your time. I have a couple of questions on my side. First, if humans are similar to such an extent, wouldn't their motives and objectives basically create a lot of difference among them or their behavior? Does their similarity then still apply when designing for them, since we rarely deal with just one stakeholder or audience?
That's a very, how do I say, it's a very common question. And the beauty is we're so similar, right? And it is also the beauty that we are so different and very unique in. So can we take care of similarities? The problem is when we are trying to be unique, we are breaking the needs of the similarity. And as a result, we suffer, right? So it would be great if we know this and that and go ahead and make adjustments to that particular context, to that use case, because you are solving a problem. The difference between art and design is that, right? Design means it solves a problem. Art means you're just going ahead and expressing. You're not really solving a problem. It's not so utilitarian in many ways. So when you are a designer, ask this question: have I solved the problem for human being A, B, C, D? Or if I kind of look at the theme, hey, all these A, B, C, D have very similar, background, very similar context, very similar problems. Then you're talking, similarity. But in all honesty, it is person by person. We don't care if they were similar in the first place. We are caring if they have the same problem. So I'm a big proponent of design by use cases, design by problem statements, rather than going ahead and designing by a bunch of people, because your customer will change, right? So let us say you're going ahead and taking for a birthday treat. If it is your college friends, you will say, we will go to this chai bandi and have an awesome treat. But would you do the same thing to your girlfriend? You will try your best, right? It's the same treat. The context is completely different. So you need to think the context. And it could be Mother's Day, Father's Day. That day you will not be a miser. You'll be like, best experience. I want to give the best for my mom, dad. And that's a context. So I know you are a student life. We can generalize a student life saying that students are generally, not so, they can't spend so much. These days it's not the case, but your context differs. So please be aware of these contexts is where I would definitely take it. Does that make sense, Dr. Aditya?
My next question is, in courses like IoT, like Internet of Things, we mainly do a system level solving. So we design solutions which are system level as compared to individual product level. So how does the thinking change when you're doing a system level solution as well as at the same time an individual product? So how does the thinking change in these two things?
That's brilliant, right? So systemic solving, right? For example, I am going ahead and figuring out a movement sensor. Let's say how much is my leg moving, or any movement for that matter. For example, if my hand moves, for example, even if my Fitbit moves, right? That's how you're figuring things out. Now the system is any movement can be tracked. Now the beauty is any product that is, or rather, I would say that the same system can be utilized in all these use cases which are using movement. So suddenly your usage has increased exponentially, and that makes it like super duper, right? So systemic thinking and going zoom in, like zoom out and zoom in, you are able to create more opportunities as a result of it. So when you start thinking in system, the foundation is clear. You know, if the system level flaw is there, you can bring it to any product and it will fail. So make sure that the foundational aspects are taken care. I would kind of put it that way. In fact, system design, systemic thinking is the first subject ideally a designer should be taught. Otherwise, they'll go and screw up a lot of things, right?
Our next question is asked by Prashita. So if humans instinctively take the path of least resistance, then how have individuals come together for progress of humankind? How does the concept of procrastination play out with this school of thought?
Lovely, right? So let's split that question into two parts. How are we moving ahead as a race? We are so lazy. The problem is we want to be lazy and accomplished, not or, right? So we are lazy and accomplished means I want to do the work with least effort, but I want to make sure that the work is done. So we go and find ingenious ways of getting the work done. And that is so powerful, right? That is why we go ahead and create tools. When I am sleeping, it is monitoring, right? And when I am not doing so much work. So if you look at the Industrial Revolution time, there used to be a beautiful diagram that I used to share, that the man circle was very big, the machine circle was very small. And as days progressed and we started figuring things out in terms of your stone sphere, your hunter-gatherer days. And slowly now what has happened, the man does so little, the machine does so much. Why? Because we have better tools which are taking the load off. Even without things that I don't know, it is tracking. It is tracking my blood sugars. Damn it. I don't know what's happening. My insurance company knows. This is very dangerous, but that's how much we have reduced our effort. And this is how we have moved ourselves forward, because all of us want to be lazy and accomplished, right? And procrastination is basically purely from a cognitive scientist perspective, I would look at it as a great thing, right? You're trying to conserve energy and you don't want to expend energy just like that. And that is why you procrastinate. So what I would start doing is kind of break down it in such a way that I'm able to, so there's a beautiful theory, probably you will study in your behavioral psychology, where you'll say that B equal to MAT, behavior is equal to motivation, action, and your trigger. I mean, T, then Dr. Fogg changed it into P and all that stuff, right? So B equal to MAT, which means I want very little motivation, I want to do very little action, and I want to have a trigger, and then I will do it. And when you do that, you don't generally procrastinate. When your motivation level is needed, for example, if I tell you, you have to run a marathon every day, you'll be like, no way, no way. It's hard, right? I'm not motivated, and it is like, I don't want to, right? And if I tell you, walk 10 minutes every day, you'll be happy. You will do it. Let's say you're getting married in the next 2 months and you wanted to look great in the photograph. And now if I tell you, and every day, 30 minutes, you will look awesome. Six-pack will kind of, and then you will be, because there is a trigger, there is a prompt of your marriage, which is making you do this. So it comes from a completely, so you will not procrastinate because there is a reason for it. So human behaviors are a little complex, and it is beautiful to go ahead and see how messy, biased, and sloppy we are, right? It's amazing how, I'm sure you will have some subjects on behavioral psychology, and it should answer these questions.
One of the questions asked by Dr. Shreya Maulik is how do we really understand the subconscious mind of the user in the decision-making process, especially when the time is limited?
Yeah.
Students usually struggle to go into that depth in shortest span of time. Any suggestions for that?
So one thing which I have used, especially when you're paid lots, you are always asked to do things yesterday, right? They will give you very little time and they will ask you to solve a problem, right? So typically I get calls saying that, Karthi, meet me for breakfast and let's talk about the strategy, the next day strategy. I'm like, dude, who are your customers? What are the problem we are solving? Nothing. You're just given one day to just kind of come up with all. So in this kind of cases, what I do is go ahead and have all the similarity, the traits kind of understood. The human nature is understood. So we go ahead and ask, how does this user want to be lazy and accomplished? I'm not even going into subconscious, nothing. I'm just saying, how do I make him do very little work? What are the things that I can eliminate from his life so that I can give time for better things? How can I go ahead and see that this person, that the you is taken care in terms of health, in terms of energy, in terms of finance. So look at Amazon, right? I've worked with Amazon for 5.5 years. The one question we keep asking is, what is that will not change in customer for 100 years? No customer is going to come and say that, please charge me more, please delay it by 3 more days. No, they're going to say, if you can deliver it to me in 1 hour, I love it. If you can kind of, give it to me at half the cost, great. These things, this human greed is not going to change, or rather human need is not going to change at all. You don't even need to go into the subconscious and unconscious mind. All human beings are unconscious because they don't want to think. Energy conservation. I'm not saying it in any other way. So in that sense, I will go ahead and look at all the biases that they will go through, behavioral economics, and I will say, look at your PVR ticket sales, right? Your PVR ticket sales is only in the last minute. Always, 80% of the sales is in the last minute. Why? Because people who are circling around in the mall will go to the counter and say, what's going on? And that guy will say, now, right now this show is on, and that is how they make sales. We think that we all use Book My Show. We don't, right? So this is a bias because they want to have good time with that particular, and the recency effect, like the recency bias. There are about 104 biases that you can read about, and that is what I'm using and pushing it on. This is going sold out, running faster. And these are all things which will give you FOMO. Okay, let me go and catch this. So as designers, we have phenomenal responsibility, but this is human. Sunk cost fallacy. Look at it. You go and why is your burger so big? Yeah, because you like things abundant, big, right? And when I give Coke so much, you will go ahead and pay 50 rupees more. Half of the time you can't finish it. Yes. Because you have paid for it, you will finish it, right? And because of this, you are actually adding weight. You can't think. The things that you will be thinking is the pennies that go. And this is sunk cost fallacy. And a lot of times I used to tell my mother, the garbage goes here or there. Why do you want to do this? She's like, no, I will not waste. I've ordered so much. And our restaurants make use of it. They charge you 100 rupees more, for which they spend 10 rupees, 90 rupees is profit. Great. As business designers, we have to think about it.
One of the questions Aditya Bhagat has asked is, how can we maintain peak flow rates for longer duration while performing a task?
Yeah, so that's the formula I was sharing, right? Dr. Frederici Fabricius, a great friend, she talks about this formula as flow equal to fear plus fun plus focus, right? So if you really look at in behind the scenes, there are these 3 neurotransmitters that is working. But what is actually happening to our mind is, for you to lose time and space, you need to get absorbed into something. And that happens only when these 3 chemicals come together. So for you to be in longer flow states, this is my hack, where I don't work with comfort zone. Every time I work with comfort zone, I get bored. I don't work with totally emergency zone, because every time I work with emergency, I get very worried and anxious. Anxiety is the killer of performance, right? Your mind performance goes away. So the best thing that I do is I always take one step, little harder than what I do. One step, two steps, that's it. I don't try and do things which is 10 steps away from me. So that way you will be like, wow, this is interesting. So let me go ahead and do this. So always have a window of like 15 days, 10 days, 30 days, whatever. So don't try and do it one day, but do it over a long period of time. So 20 minutes every day, something like that. And that way you will start gaining skills and your flow state automatically increases. I have had flow days of 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours. There are some days where I don't know what to even, I wouldn't have eaten, slept. I don't know if it is a good thing or a bad thing, but that happens because it is challenging. And because of this Design U presentation that I had to give today, I have never documented any of these things before. I write a daily newsletter that's purely for keeping me focused. So designu.substack.com was about that. But because of this, I had a deadline. I have to present today. So my fear was I will screw it up. So I did prepare properly. My first slide deck, when I shared it with Manisha, was 266 slides. And from there, for me to concise and bring it to just 70, gosh, it was so much work, right? The fear definitely helped in terms of deadline. The fun was making it concise and talking to a very young crowd. And the focus was like, this is the talk. You're not talking anything more. This is it. This is it. 2 hours. That's it, right? You're not going anywhere. That gives you better. So I designed my deadlines like that. It's like a hack, but it works.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. In fact, one of the parents has responded saying that your talk provided very good life lessons and guidance. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know why we don't teach these things. Probably there is no designer who really thought about making themselves lazy and accomplished. So my idea was like, how can I make my life more effective and efficient? I don't know how many of you, I mean, at least parents in this group have been beyond 35 as age. You get to something called as midlife crisis, right? Whether you call it crisis or awakening, it depends upon your life experience. But the way you look at it is, how can I make this 14,000 days that I'm going to live more effective and efficient, right? I looked at investments. So I started a totally new career. I'm not a teacher, I'm a doer, I'm a practitioner. So I started teaching. It was super fun. I started changing my career like completely. Finance, I said, okay, let's go ahead and make $1 million in the next years. It's like an amazing goal. Okay, let's go ahead and become fit. So I'm running a project called as 90-60, saying that I increased my weight to 90, and I'm going to show that it's possible to go to 60 in just 18 months. Nothing, no pills, no powders, no gyms, no protein, nothing. But just using vegetarian food, you can do that. And why not? Your health, your well-being, everything can be designed. Why are we not doing it? So probably this should be one of the personal transformation kind of a subject included in the universities. I'm definitely talking to some of the professors. That's why when Manisha said, can you come and talk? I said, this is the topic. We are not changing it, right? So yeah, it's been totally fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Over to you, Prashita.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful guidance. And thank you, sir. Let us end the event with a few words from our director, Professor Manisha Phadke.
Hi, everybody. I'm sure you are inspired how you want to lead or design your life. And Karthi, I think we designed this event. It all happened. So thank you for all that. Some of our senior students might find some connections in what you said to what they're learning, what we have been telling them as faculty. And I'm sure that's going to go a long way, starting right in the very beginning as you did today. So look forward to having you more. And yes, we do have cognitive science and cultural studies as a part of our curriculum, quite heavily dependent on that. And hopefully these designers will be different and will impact the world in better ways and before
Really?
that impact themselves. Yeah. Thank you so much, Karthi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And if you have any questions anytime, just use the social media. Asynchronous connections are good. So I would be happy to answer on the go when you have any questions. Let's get connected. There we go.